Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video. Just myself today, and we're going to be looking at the squad depth challenges that more than likely Lopetegui is going to be the manager. So what he's going to inherit with the current West Ham squad and the areas where he's going to need to build, because we've said it again, probably for the last few summers now, massive rebuilds are needed, aging squad, out of contract players, and it's hitting us again this summer. We're definitely in a weaker position going into this summer, with the outgoings we had in with Fornals, and Ben Rama and Kera are coming back from their loans. But again, whether they'll be integrated back into the squad, that remains to be seen. And there's probably going to be quite a few outgoings of players and out of contract players. Calvin Phillips, obviously, he's going to be going back to Man City after his loan. You've got Ben Johnson, who's out of contract and is likely to sign for Crystal Palace on a free transfer. You've got Aaron Cresswell, who's out of contract. You've got Ogbonna, who's out of contract. So there's a lot that's going to be built on. And I just wanted to illustrate the overall squad depth that we have right now in the areas, so you can visibly see where we need to improve and what we need to actually sign in the summer, because it's going to be a massive overhaul for Lopetegui if he is the manager. And whatever manager it is, it's going to be extremely difficult to manage this in the summer. Especially, that's not even considering if we're going to sell the likes of Paqueta, or even Kudus could go. Some of the more high quality players that we would like to keep and build around this summer. But we don't have European football. We need to be careful how we integrate youth players as well. I think we 100% on this channel, we've wanted to integrate youth at the right times and give them an opportunity to impress. I think this preseason is going to be more important than ever for them players to do that, especially likes of George Urphy, Freddie Potts, Mubama. There's a lot of really highly talented, highly rated youth players that are coming through. So let's take a look at the overall squad depth right now when players return from loan this summer. And obviously with people now leaving on their contract expiry, this is how we're going to shape up. So in goal, we've obviously got Areola and Fabianski. I think that will pretty much stay intact. Fabianski has extended the contract until next summer. Then you've got the back four. And this is where, again, we need a lot of work, because Ben Johnson's out of contract. So that right back is just Kufal right now. Emerson's over on that side with just Cresswell, and Cresswell's going to be going as well. You've then got Aged and Mavropanos are likely to be the two players that you'd expect to start. But again, Aged could be leaving. And then you've got Kera and Zuma on the bench. Again, Zuma is a player that could be shipped as well, and Kera as well. So you're looking at potentially 3 centre-backs out of those 4 leaving this summer. You've then got Alvarez, who hopefully will stay. And you've got Flynn Downs coming back in, who we'll talk on in a second. You've then got Ward-Prowse and Souček. You've got Paqueta, who again probably will leave in the summer if the bid's right. You've then got George Urphy in there as an option, which I've put in, who can kind of operate in that advanced eight or wide left role. You've then got Kudus out on the left, Bowen on the right, and you've got Ben Rama and Cornet as their backups right now. And you've got Antonio, 34-year-old Antonio at striker, with Danny Ings in behind. So that kind of illustrates it's going to be a massive rebuild this summer. I mean, let's start with this defense. We've only got Emerson going into the summer because Cresswell's contract's out at left back. We've not got Ben Johnson for that versatility to play left back and right back because his contract's out in the summer. And we did a separate video on that. And we really don't agree with Ben Johnson not being given a contract. I mean, it makes no financial sense. It makes no homegrown quota sense. And it makes no quality player sense. He's someone that is very versatile. We're starting to show some really improved performances since the turn of the year. And, operating in midfield, up a little bit advanced of the right, playing left back, right back. He's played centre back. He's a really versatile option and still only quite young. So the fact we're letting him go is strange. And then you look at the centre backs and the centre backs we've got available and the centre backs we might even be shipping this summer. I mean, obviously Ogbonna's going to be leaving. We've got Aged, who's been injured a lot. Mavropanos, who's currently injured. Then you've got Zuma and Kera once he's back from his loan from Monaco. So you've got Kera, who, again, we don't know what Lopetegui is going to want to do. He may stay, he may not. Zuma, again, he's the captain of the club. He's going to take replacing. And despite his injury record and performances this season, he's been very important for us when he has been fit. But this season, he's heavily declined. So, again, someone we're probably advocating moves on or is effectively back up and is part of that leadership back line and brought in when we need to bring him in and not so dependent on playing him every 3 days. We don't have Europe anymore, so there's not that stress. But You've then got Mavropanos, who I think will probably be a starter next season. I think he showed enough at the back end of this season to showcase his qualities, and I think it's the type of player Lopetegui will like to bring in, someone physically dominant, someone who's not scared to bring the ball forwards. And then you've got Aged, who I actually think Lopetegui will want to keep at West Ham. I will be very surprised if Aged leaves if Lopetegui wants him to stay. However, player power is a massive thing now. Aged may decide that a move away is what he wants, despite the managerial switch up. So, yeah, that one's going to be interested. And again, as I mentioned, Tilo Kehrer, will he stay or not? That remains to be seen with Lopetegui coming in. You then have the midfield. Let's just bring that back up again because Alvarez is obviously the mainstay, playing six. Hopefully, we hold on to him because he's been very good for us this season. And you've then got Flynn Downs coming back. Now, the thing with Flynn Downs is it's a player that's very good, very, very good player, outstanding in the championship so far this season for Southampton. But we just don't think he has that quality to really make his mark in this team the way we want to play. And I don't think he'll want to be back up. I saw his comments that he wants to stay at Southampton next season, should they go up. And, I think if Southampton do get promoted to the Premier League, I think that would be a fantastic move for him. But then again, who do we have as that backup? Because then you're looking at someone like Freddie Potts, and it's massive pressure to put him in that situation. But again, if Freddie Potts is good enough, he's old enough to play. That's a simple fact. We'll see in pre-season what Lopetegui thinks of him. Hopefully, he'll be given the chance, and you can just tell Wickham loved him. Again, it's a different ballpark playing in the Premier League compared to where Wickham are playing, but you can tell the player's qualities, and it's a player we've really, really liked from the academy for the last couple of years here on Babbling. Freddie Potts and George Murphy have really been the standout players for us. And, George Murphy, we think, is ready to make the step up. Freddie Potts, there's still question marks over that. We need to see more from him in pre-season, and Lopetegui will make that assessment. So we could potentially be okay there if Potts shows enough and we give him a chance this season with no European football and cup competitions, and Alvarez stays. But then you're looking at the midfield in front of that. You've got Ward-Prowse and Souček, you've got Paqueta, and then again, George Murphy is kind of the fourth option there to play as kind of at 8 or 10. So there needs work there. I think I'd expect Ward-Prowse to stay. I'd expect Souček to stay. Paqueta, 50-50. It's 50-50 for me. I think if the big clubs come in for him, he'll go if they pay the price. That's a simple fact. I think if Man City want to come back in for him for 80, 85 million, we will not say no to that. And I don't think any West Ham fan would be annoyed if we sold him for 85 million. I think that'd be a fantastic deal, especially given his recent decline in performances at the end of this season. And I do think a player like Paqueta is replaceable, even though he's been fantastic for us and he is an outstanding player. I do think that type of player is replaceable as well. So 85 million could be a lot to add to the transfer budget as well. That is another indicator of maybe that Paqueta might be moved on to free up some funds to build this squad, because we do need to build this squad. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Obviously, you want to keep your best players. You want to keep your star players. You want to build around the best. But again, that will depend on Lopetegui, how his player management is in pre-season, what the man management side of things is like. So again, we're going to need a big bolster in midfield as well. Then you've got the attack. So on paper, you've got Kudus and Bowen, two fantastic starters. Hopefully, they'll both be staying, and I do expect both of them to stay this summer. You've then got Ben Rama coming back from loan, and you've got Cornet, who was just, he's the forgotten man at West Ham. But you've then got Antonio, who's 34, Danny Ings, who's 30, 31. You'd expect Ings to be moved on. I think Antonio should be a bench player now. And we need to make that marquee striker signing for Lopetegui. It has to be a priority this summer. We have neglected it for far too long. We've tried to kind of address it in recent years with Haller and Scamacca. It hasn't worked. We need to identify very early on who Lopetegui wants as his number 9 striker, the type of player he is, the type of style he wants to play, and we have to make it happen. There is no question mark that is one of the most important parts of this puzzle for us in the summer, because we cannot rely on Antonio to do it week in, week out. We need a goal scorer, and we need someone that's going to play that Lopetegui system. So striker for me is a massive area. I think if we free up Danny Ings' wages and can find a suitable club for him, that would be massive. Keep Antonio as backup and to be an option off the bench. And then you've got Cornet and Ben Rama. So with both of those players, again, that's going to come down to pre-season. That's going to come down to whether Lopetegui takes a favour to either of them. I think with Cornet, it's a tough one. Whether Lopetegui will like to keep him around, that remains to be seen. But again, it's probably a player you'd expect to be moved on. And Ben Rama as well. How much of a future does he have at West Ham now David Moyes has gone? Again, it's a really interesting question, and it's really interesting to see what happens in pre-season this summer. But, looking at this squad, I think it's very clear to see where we need to strengthen. Striker, 100%, and the defense. Both fullbacks, we need to sign a starting right back, in my opinion. We need to sign a very high class striker, and we need to bring in a high class midfielder to play in that 8 position if Paqueta leaves, or to even play aside him. Side by him. I think it's really important we get that right. I think the goalkeeper position we're fine for another year. I think that's fine to have as a rotation with no Europe. I think centre backs is going to be a massive one, and right back. I would say we need to do a lot more on the defensive side of things with signings, because I think we have the attackers to make things happen. And I don't think that should be the priority other than striker. So I mean, like the wide players and, the attacking eights. I think for me, let's have a look. 5 key positions we need to sign. We need to sign starting players in, high quality starting talent. It's right back, it's centre back, it's number 8, it's number 10, and probably another winger. I think that's what we need to do, a left winger. I would say we can't rely on Kudus and Bowen to be the outlets every week in, week out. We need a different option. We're looking at the likes of Wesley right now in Brazil to play in that left wing spot. So that's probably where I would go. I would lean towards a natural left winger, a number 9, a number 8/10, and then a centre back and a right back. Probably 2 centre backs, to be honest, with the outgoings we're going to have, and obviously the injury prone record our centre backs have shown. So you're looking at 5 or 6. You need 5 or 6 imposing signings in the summer, and that's not even regarding if people leave. That's just as a minimum of what we need this summer to strengthen and build out this squad, because it's going to be a massive summer. And this is integrating youth into this squad. If we're selling Downs, Potts is coming in. Earthy could potentially be an option off the bench, and should be an option in the squad this summer. So you're kind of starting to integrate a couple of youth players already, and the squad doesn't look too bad then. If once you've made 5 or 6 really good signings in those positions, you're starting to assemble something very, very strong. Now, there's a few indicators as to whether we can pull this off. Keeping Paqueta and Kudus and Bowen, massive, 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 massive task for Tim Steidten to do that. Whether we can hold on to those players, we will see, especially with no Europe. But I don't know. I'm starting to get excited again by what could happen in the summer. Again, there's also a lot of, okay, well, you just got to look at the transfer windows in the past. We don't notoriously do well. We can't think like that anymore. We've got Tim Steidten. Obviously, David Moyes is now leaving the club. We've got a fresh look in Lopetegui, a fresh system, a fresh start. This is the time to build, and this is the time to get it right. I think we've hit a perfect moment to integrate youth players, because we have some really highly talented academy players and under 21 players. And we also have the balance of, okay, we're pretty stable in terms of FFP. I've seen rumors around that we're going to have to integrate youth players because budgets are tight. It's nonsense. We have the budget. We've been very good with FFP for the past few years. And obviously the sale of the likes of Declan Rice has massively helped that. And you'd expect there to be a few outgoings this summer to balance that as well. So do not worry about that. That is 100% rubbish, to be honest. But we should be integrating youth anyway. We shouldn't be discrediting youth just because we have money to spend. The talent is there. We just have to get the balance right. So massive summer ahead. This kind of illustrates how difficult or how easy, again, it depends which side of the pendulum you swing, this squad build is going to be. For me, out of 10 difficulty wise, I'd say this is going to be out of 7 or 8 out of 10 to manage, just because we don't have Europe anymore. We're going to be battling to keep hold of the likes of Kudus and Paqueta to be part of this rebuild. And also we need to get the youth integration right. And it's a new manager. It's a big period for this club. I think it's going to take a couple of years to slowly go back to how we wanted things to be. And time will tell whether that's Lopetegui or not. But with Tim Steidten, we'll see. This is the summer to judge Tim Steidten, because he's been given full control of things on the transfer side. He's going to work very closely with Lopetegui, and it looks like he's fully on board with that. And he's got a fresh summer to do it. He's got a complete summer to do it. He's had the pipeline for probably the last couple of months now. So there is no excuses in Tim Steiden's eyes now. He has to deliver on what many fans believe he can deliver and bring us in some fantastic talent. So, yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of the whole situation. It's obviously a massive rebuild, but it's one we could potentially get right and integrate youth players at the same time with a new manager. Could be very exciting. Leave your comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content throughout the summer, as we'll be doing plenty of breakdown videos, scouting analysis, everything on the players that we're going to be linked with. And there's going to be a lot. So yeah, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And yeah, until the next one, come on, you Irons.